Hello, trail travelers. It is Carrie and Katarina out here, and we are in the flat top area of Colorado. This is just north of Glenwood Springs. Absolutely gorgeous. This here is Deep Lake. Uh, can't wait to do a little fishing this evening. But what I'm here to talk to you about are these bikes. This is one of the electric bikes from QuietKat. And they're actually right down the street. They're in Eagle, Colorado, not too far from where I'm at right now. And they've been generous enough to let me ride a couple of the different models. I've had the Jeep bike, I've had the Apex, and this is the Ibex. These are freaking cool. I gotta say, they are so much fun. I've had them at the house for the last couple of weeks trying different models. I've set up fishing pole mounts on them, rode them to my local lakes, different carrying cases, ways to mount tackle boxes, all kinds of things. They got lights available for nighttime stuff, and they are just an absolute blast to ride. Now, a couple things that set these apart from other bikes. Number one is this visual display. This thing is really cool. First off, you can see it in the daylight, which big plus for a control, but it does a lot of different functions. You can turn it on, you see your speed, you see your battery percentage, and it's got like a trip meter. So you can have how many miles are left, or how many miles have you ridden, or things like that. It has a lot of different controls. You can set the tire size. That way you make sure that it's got the right speed and everything going on. And most importantly, you can control how the bike operates. Now, depending on where you're at, different category of bikes, it's like class 1, class 2, class 3, are allowed. Sometimes it's only allowed a class 1, which means it has to have pedals and it cannot have a throttle. Well, if you put this in class 1, then you can pedal assist it, and the throttle is disabled. So it meets that requirement. If you go to class 2, you can use the throttle assist. Then there's unlimited. If you're not bound by any rules like that, you can just set this thing to unlimited. Then when you're cruising around, you have 3 different settings on here for how much motor assist you get. So there's Eco, which is the lowest one, and if you're pedaling along, you're going to get about, for every stroke of the pedal, it's going to feel like you get an extra stroke of pedal, something like that. It's like a 1-to-1 type thing. Really nice for cruising around when things are flat. When you're on asphalt, you can just cruise around in eco mode all day long. Then the next one is Trail. So when you need that extra little oomph to climb a little hill, something like that, the Trail mode gives you that little extra. And I like that one a lot. And then there's Boost, which is like 2 times. I mean, if I need to go up a steep hill, I just want the most power this thing will put out, I can put it into Boost mode and really get this thing moving. I've had these bikes up to 32 miles an hour. I weigh with clothes on, about 310 pounds. And these things haul me around beautifully. Adjustable brakes up front. Now, different models have different things for the rear. One model has just a solid rear end. The Jeep bike and this one have a shock absorber on here, give you a little more cushion. We've equipped them with drop seats, so you can control that from the front. This one doesn't have that. I missed that. I wish I would have done that on this one. But like any other mountain bike, you can equip them with all kinds of different things, and some of these things, like the seat posts, are going to be standard. Each bike is a little different in the back in the structure, so figuring out how to mount different things may take a little bit of creativity, but it's not too bad. Everything I've wanted to mount on these, I've been able to mount on all 3 of the different models. These aren't cheap. I mean, they're several $1,000s for sure. And each one is a little bit different battery sizes, different motor sizes. I'll put a list down here on the bottom so you can see the comparison of all of them. But what's nice is they all work the same. If you know how to work one of them, you know how to work all of them, because it's a standard control unit on here to change the modes, turn it on and off, get into the menu, and all of them have the same menu display. So I didn't really want to make this a review because I'm not a big mountain biker to compare this to other e-bikes or mountain bikes. Not really my thing. What I want to talk about is, does it have a place for people who go off-roading, or probably more overlanding, right? If you're out there and you're setting up camp somewhere and you just want to go scout around, which is what I did on this trip. I used the bike to go down some different trails to see if some campsites were open. We've got the Jeep with the trailer on it. It's not the easiest thing to turn around in some places, so being able to go and scout out those campsites with the bike was a huge win for us. I was able to go and visit a couple different lakes and try some fishing at different lakes without having to take everything with us. Those types of things are fantastic for this. Now, if I was at a campsite near town and I just needed to run into town for something, great. Grab the bike, run to town without having to disconnect the Jeep from the trailer and all that. So I think for a lot of people, something like this makes a lot of sense. It's fun, it's sporty, it's fast, it does all those things. You can put different storage racks on here for different purposes, and different people are going to have different needs for them. Now, I do want to point out how we got this thing out here with us, and we used a bike rack from OneUp. Very unique bike rack. It goes, normally it's going to attach right to a trailer hitch receiver, like most bike racks, but it has a knob on it that you can turn, and it locks it in place. It's an anti-wobble. Well, we didn't put that on the trailer because then we wouldn't have access to our back door. So what we did is we took the rail from that, which has a T-slot, and mounted that to the tongue of our trailer, which worked out really, really well. So very happy with that decision. And it allowed us to get the bike out into some places we would normally never be able to take a bike to. So I'm a huge fan now. I'm loving the QuietKat bikes. They're run around 65 pounds-ish, so they're not the easiest thing for one person to get up and off of a bike rack, but I can do it. It's not that big of a deal. But I think these features, this display that they have is really, really cool. The motors are great. Everything about these things is just put together so well. And one of their bigger markets is actually hunters. And they want to get into their hunting places, not so much about being quiet, which is important, don't get me wrong, but they want to do it without sweating because they don't want the animals to smell them. And so if they can get in somewhere without sweating by using an electric bike, and QuietKat has trailers, they've got all kinds of accessories for people who want to do deer hunting and stuff to be able to get that stuff out of there when they're done. But to get in without breaking a sweat because you're using an electric motor is apparently a really, really huge win for hunters out there. I just don't like to sweat, so it works out really well for me too. So that's my take on the QuietKat e-bikes. Check them out. Like I said, they're a Colorado-based company, really good guys. I've known them for a few years, and they do a fantastic job. And I finally worked out a way of being able to try out some bikes for the last few weeks, and I gotta say, I'm very, very impressed. Looking for an e-bike? Check out QuietKat. And from Katerina and myself, stay safe out there. We'll see you on the trails. Maybe on an e-bike.